Hello everyone, welcome back to our exploration of the 5-out offense in basketball. We'll go ahead and start here in our basic setup. Remember, we like to have both space on both sides of the ball at all time. We don't necessarily want the ball to be up at the top of the key too often. We'll take a look at that later in this video when that does happen. But for right now, we're starting with the ball at the wing. A couple things before we get started here with our actual flow of players. One, this is our first progression of a couple different things we can do. So this is probably the easiest progression, but it's also probably the best progression. We can get some good looks off of just pass, cut, fill if we just did that over and over and over again. But in order to do that, we need to cut with purpose. Okay, so when you cut, you are cutting to look for the ball. You're always going to cut ball side, and you want the ball back right away. If you don't get it, that's okay. Continue out to fill. And lastly here, if you feel like you have a size advantage on your defender, teach these players here, once they get to the block, post up for 2 to 3 seconds. If you feel like you can take your defender at the block and post up on them 2 to 3 seconds, if you don't get a pass in, then you can fill back outside of the perimeter. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our progressions here. So we have the ball in the one's hand. It doesn't have to be the one, again, like last video. It could be anybody standing over there, right? So we're going to pass to either 3 or 5. Those are the passes we want to make here, the nice, easy passes. So 3 or 5 have to get open. What does that mean? That means they might have to cut in and cut back out. Same thing over here, cut in, cut back out to get open, okay? So let's start with the pass to the 3. All right, so 3 maybe does a little V cut, cuts in, cuts out to the ball, and we get the pass over here to him. 1 is going to cut ball side. So what does that mean, right? So if we have a defender here, there's our defender. We don't want to cut this way. You're not going to get a good look that way, okay? What we want to do is we want to cut ball side. So we're going to cut here, right down the lane, looking for the pass. Okay, now again, if we don't get that pass, which we're not going to get more often than not, we could try to post up on our defender. And if that doesn't work, we're going to get back out. We got to fill the spots along the perimeter. So as 1 gets down low looking for the pass, 5, after seeing that 1 does not get the ball back, 5 has to cut to fill 1 spot. Okay? So what does that mean? Again, we talked about this in the last video. If your defender is 2 steps or more off, we're just going to blast cut right to fill 1 spot. Right there, boom. If they're 1 step on you, then you can V-cut in and out. Okay? So we'll just have them blast cut here. And 1, after knocking the ball, is going to fill that spot. And there you have our first progression of pass, cut, and fill. Okay? So let's go back to where we started here. And now let's do the same thing. We're going to go 1 to 5 with our pass. All right, so 1 is going to pass over here to 5 after 5 gets open. Again, we have our defender here. We got a defender right there on 1. So this time we're going to want to cut this way, looking for the pass. Okay, again, if we don't get it, that's okay. But now everybody on the other side of the ball has to blast or V-cut to fill that position, right? So 3 is going to blast all the way over here. 2 is going to blast up here near the top of the key. 4 is going to fill that spot there. So 1 can fill all the way to the other side. And we're back in our setup here. Okay, still giving 5 space if they can drive, but also just leaving space for 3 to get open on that side of the ball. All right, now let's see what happens on the return pass. So we're going to go 5 to 3 here. So 3's got to cut in, cut out to get open, right? And then 5 is going to pass over. This is probably the easiest one to know. All right, so again, we have our defender here that's guarding 5. 5 needs to cut ball side. Okay, but this time, what we don't want to do is we don't want 3 to dribble into the corner over here and then everybody to fill those spots and 5 to cut through. That would not be ideal, all right? Because we don't want the ball in the corner as much as possible. We want it out of the corner. We want more spacing. So instead of doing that, 5 is just going to cut in, try to steal the defender if possible, and if you're not open, we're going to cut right back out to our spot where we were. And now we're right back where we wanted to be, okay? One last thing. Let's put the ball on the top of the key here. All right, remember we want our spacing here, big time spacing at the top of the key, right? But if 2 cannot dribble penetrate, which we'll get to later on in our progression, that's okay. 3 or 4, you can blast to them or cut in, cut out, so you're open. Now, same thing happens. I have 2 passes over here to 4. 2 is going to cut ball side to fill that lane. And then if you don't get the ball, we're going to turn away from where the ball is. So 3 can cut up to fill the top of the key. 5 can cut up to the wing over here. And then 2 just continues on to the corner. And we're right back where we started in our 5-out setup. Okay? So the big keys for this is remember to cut with purpose, right? We're looking for the ball. And if we don't get the ball, we're going to take our defender with us to clear that spot out. And always cut ball side as well. You're not going to get a pass if you don't cut ball side. Okay? And then last thing, don't forget that you can stop. So 2 here could have stopped right here to try to post up on their defender for 2 to 3 seconds. If you don't get the ball, get out of the lane. Keep that lane open for the next cutter. Okay? If you receive a pass, always look for the cutter first. That is your first look right away. Look and see if you can give them that return pass. And if not, then we look to pass along the perimeter after that. All right, thank you as always for watching my video today. This is progression 1, pass, cut, and fill. We'll see you next time for progression number 2, which will be backdoor cuts.
Ooh.